Good morning, Maharlikans. This is another series of my vlogs. The one I mentioned in my previous vlogs is to continue. Maybe you are wondering how I come to know this. I was part of the seventh generation Alpha Omega. Seventh generation, huh? Meaning you cannot find us registered at sect, but we are completely unregistered movements of Alpha Omegans registered in the hearts and minds of all of us. Our four founding fathers was before not 13th century. We are responsible of this wealth of God. Now I told you that some unscrupulous individuals had right into the issue of that last will and testament. The last will and testament did not scrutinize well that there is no mention of banks. No banks mentioned in the world. Where to go, Anthony Martini? It is just a mention of amount, the enormous amount of wealth still unmonetized. That is the wealth of Solomon. Bring before here in the early Christians. There are so many ways the Pope of the 13th century or more or less has organized because he was enshrined with the Holy Spirit to gather all the Christian wealth deposited at the official papacy, which is the Bendici Bank, to gather all the wealth and bring this wealth to the Far East, to where the prophecy of Isaiah is foretold. It's the islands of the East, the new vineyard of God. That is why we exist, because ESM, anybody can claim, but he is part of our generation, seventh generation. Do we have a what you call an age gap? But we belong to the same bracket of generation. My daughter told me, someone told him it's a myth. Yes, it's a myth. Antonio Martin Santiago is a myth, provided it is just a concoction of the real. It is the hidden knowledge of the real ear of Solomon. Marcos, during his time as Alpha Omega administrator, failed to meet this ear of Solomon. He named our generation the Golden Boy generation. Out of the knowing of all of his family, It is purely Alpha Omega. Our generation he calls the golden boy generation. Now, as I told you, I am part of that generation. I know and I listen. He talks to us. We are trained. We are part of the plan, but we do not know when is the year of King Solomon. It is hidden within the bottomless knowledge of God and the wisdom of God. And only the guardians who watch over, who guard the wealth of God, does not even know. But during Marcos 10th, he never met. Anthony Martin Santiago is the grand nephew of our forefathers, the founders, the early founders of Alpha Omega. There might be Anthony Santiago standing there, that corner, but Anthony Santiago in our generation, we consider this, we name him, he is the grandnephew of Archbishop Santiago, who was given instruction by the Pope of the early years of 13th century to come up to bring this wealth of Christian into it. And many more. He instructed the British Empire, the Portuguese Empire, who would defy the Pope at the time. Even the Queen, even the King, before he will be in the throne, he asked for the blessings of the Pope. The French Empire, the British Empire, and all others. Even the Crusaders, next to the Crusaders are the Knights Templar, to whom my Povers is one. I made mention of the Knights Templar in my article, and thus they are all sent by the Pope to bring this. Even Magellan is a Knights Templar, to bring this Christian wealth to the east, to where God says, it's my new vineyard. God says, I will bring these people, I will bring my new people out from. That is what I written in my article. The first settlers here are the 144,000. 144,000. I am not so familiar about Bible, but we are told the 144,000 men, women, children, the whole of this, we call them the tribe. The 144,000 tribes of Israel chosen to be relocated in the faraway land in the east. During the time of Solomon, it now completes. Now, there is now numerous claims, but we Alpha Omegans have one claim, that the wealth of Solomon is only to be opened when his pure bloodline will come, when his pure descendants' bloodline will come. The wealth of Solomon, written in the will of Marcos, is so enormous. That's why it is kept hidden, kept guarded by the guardians. These guardians are the 144,000 men who are selected from that 144,000 tribes of Israel. These 144,000 men untouched by women, no lies found in their mouth, and the first to experience life eternal. They are within. They are within. They guard the wealth of God, brought about by the different empires, brought about by the Crusaders, brought about by the Knights Templar. And how does the history of this enormous wealth came into being? I said in my first blog that Solomon was given by God wisdom, to which Solomon asked, and wealth to build his kingdom, to build the temple of God. And during the time there was opulence. The Israelites experienced pure opulence. They experienced pure austerity, pure peace. And God will make that coming of the same events in the days of Solomon today. Not today, but in the years to come. That's why all his buried wealth, these wealth are scattered throughout the globe, scattered throughout every countries of the world. Just imagine. But God bestowed these Alpha Omegans. He show how he gets it by wars, because it's the ruling, the spoils of wars is of conquerors keep keeping. So the spoils of the wars belongs to the victors of the war. The war, the First World War, the Second World War, the conquest of Napoleon, everything. God is the director of the war, and the producers are the men of evil deeds. Evil deeds. You see, who is Yamashita? Who is Hitler? Who is Stalin? Who is the first president during the war? Who is Truman? They are all the evil doers. They are all surrogate of Satan. They killed millions, but it is part of the director's plan, which is God the Almighty, to retake all his wealth. That's why all boats in the world are emptied after the second last World War. Now, it is kept and buried in the Philippines, and that will shows the enormous amount of wealth to whom God buried in the Philippines. He keep those wealth until such time that the true and genuine bloodline of Solomon can unearth. Of course, he can read the signs and symbols leading to the buried wealth of God. And so, my fellow Maharlikans, I even read in the publication of the U.S. long before it was shown to us. It was shown and read to us in our trainings because we are trained Alpha Omegas. We were schooled outside. Me and Bungbong has an age gap, but we belong to that generation. Now I read before, and it was read to us during the many trainings that we are the wealthiest nation on earth with so much gold. Accordingly, it was owned by the royal family of Taliano. But please excuse me, no family royals shall lay claim except God. There's the passage in the Bible. God lay claim. I am God. I own gold and silver, everything. So,